We're back for Ranty Aunty episode number 3. So in this episode, we're gonna rant about what things not to say to Indigenous people because there's a lot, and a lot of people be doing them, and it's like, why do you have to do them? So this stems from two situations that came up recently. One was handled in a good way, one was handled in a not so good way. And so let's start on a positive note because I like to start out positive. So we'll have a good rant first. So, you know, I love to joke, and like I think joking is like the best part of like native humor, native comedians, like native, like it's just like we're funny, you know what I mean? I think I have a personal bias that I think that native people are the funniest people. I love joking, and so I was joking around with my friend. We were in a group chat. We were talking, and like my friend was talking about, oh, you know, we want to do a group. She wants to do a group order for Sol de Janeiro, and then we were talking about how much she loves the sunscreen, and she told me before that like her kids like using it too, and she's just like, I'm gonna have to order more because my kids are gonna use it up on me. And so when we were talking about this order, so I was making a joke with my friend because they were talking about making a Sol de Janeiro order, and the sunscreen was 50% off. And so I was like, I just called her out in the group chat. I'm like, oh, like so and so doesn't doesn't share the sunscreen with her kids. And then they're just like, it was funny because like people are just like, well, holy, like, why are you calling her out like that? And I think I said something else, and then one of the girls was like, oh, Kathleen, like, you're so savage, like, I love it. And I'm just like, I prefer the term ruthless. And I'm like, and then I tagged my friend and like talk to her about it, and like, so I think, and then my friend came and said, yeah, no, like, don't do that, that's disrespectful. And like, I had already had that conversation with her prior, so like she was able to have that understanding. So the way that was handled good, because then the girl that said that, she was like, oh, she messaged me privately, and she's like, hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't know that that wasn't appropriate. And so I was like, yeah, like, I knew you meant in like the pop culture way, like how they have the savage dance, and they have like savage has turned into like a pop culture lingo for like ruthless, cruel, cutthroat, like stuff like that. And so like I knew she was talking about it in that sense, but to me it's still like there's such a when a white person calls either a black person or indigenous person that word, there's so much racism in history that goes behind it, and continued oppression that goes behind it, that to me that's just like a no. So like I know that I have some native friends that they call themselves that. They're like, oh, I'm savage, or like they'll have savage clothing, will use that term and to describe themselves or to talk about other people. So I think when it's people of that group that have been oppressed by the word, when they're using that, like it makes a little bit more sense. But when it's people who are of the settlers and the colonizers and European descent, and they use that word and they call indigenous people like that, like there's like 500 years of history that goes behind that, because that's how how my people got into this situation, by thinking that we were savages and thinking that we were uncivilized, and trying to civilize us and enfranchise us and assimilate us and all those words, like, so, or all those things that they did to us. So I think, to me, it's just not like my personal preference. Like that's something like you might talk to another native and they might be totally fine with that, and like they might be like, oh yeah, like I get it, like it's cool, like, and that. But that's one thing. Like if someone's gonna bring it to your attention that they're uncomfortable with it, like, apologize, don't do it again. Like, it's so simple. So now we're gonna talk about where I might get heated because this is craziness. We're gonna talk about another situation. So I mentioned, I already talked about cultural appropriation, but it was the one thing that I don't like either is because like and maybe I'm really passionate about this because like I've had to go on this journey of like relearning and reclaiming and knowing my clan and understanding the different roles and responsibilities. So I'm of the bear clan, and so in that, like, a lot of the whitewashing of it would be like, oh, that's my spirit animal, right? And like, so I see this on like different you know, memes and pictures and stuff like that. People are like, oh, that's my spirit animal. And like, it's just like, no, no, it's not. Like, first off, no, it's not. Second off, like, you, like, that's not a part of your culture, so why are you claiming something that's not, like, that's to me where, like, it's just like, no, no, don't do that. So anyways, this girl was calling out this other girl for, like, it's cup group drama. So she was like buying up all these cups, and like this other girl was like harassing her about it. And like, I was just like, you know, this is ridiculous. Like, it's over cups. Like, why are you, you know, being so awful? And then so this one girl was like, you know, hyping her up because she called her out or whatever. And she's like, oh, like, girl, you're my spirit animal. And I'm like, is today the day? You know what I mean? And I guess that's part of the problem. Like, it happened on the weekends. Like, I had more time to like just be in my phone, and which, you know, if it was a work day, it probably wouldn't have happened because I'm busy. You know what I mean? So anyway, she made that comment, and I was like, okay, I was being nice about it, because I said, can we please avoid using ignorant and racist terms, like, as an indigenous, like, or sayings like this. As an indigenous person, like, my clan is not your mockery. Because, like, that whole idea of, like, spirit animals, you know, you're making fun of it, like, because this girl was, like, doing something that I thought was, like, really negative and didn't need to be done, unnecessary, like, and then she wanted to equate that with, like, you know, being her spirit animals, so it just, like, you know, rubbed me the wrong way. And so, you know, I said that, and I try to do it in, like, a good way. Like, that's where, like, our teachings come in. We always want to try to do something in a good way. We don't want to do it in a bad way. But, you know, sometimes things go sideways. and they did. So, yeah, she responded back, and she's like, oh, I didn't even think that would be offensive. Like, I'm sorry. You know, do you want me to take it down, or do you want me to leave it up for educational purposes? Which... I was just like, what? Like, I was just like, okay. I did, like, talk to another friend about it, and, like, I understand, like, the idea of, like, it could have been, like, a dirty delete or whatever. I would have, like, I don't know, in that situation, I probably, like, I would have taken it down, and she did take it down eventually, but, like, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't have asked the person that, you know, I made upset with my words if they want me to keep it up, and or for educational purposes. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, like, I don't know. Are people actually gonna learn from that though? They're probably still gonna keep doing it. Like, it's like some stuff is like so individualized that it's like the individual needs to learn. Well, these individuals weren't learning. They were very close-minded. That happened. So I said, well, where did you think it came from? I'm genuinely curious, because, like, where, like, people just think that it's a saying, like, they don't even think about where things come from. Like, that's, like, where I'm just like, you know, anything that I say, I want to know where it comes from, what is an intent, you know, what does it mean, does it have potential to upset someone, is it gonna hurt anyone? Maybe that's just, like, me being the overthinker that I am. A lot of times, like, anytime I'm saying anything or speaking out, people are like, oh, you're pulling the race card, or, you know what I mean? Or, like, you know, you're just being sensitive. Like, that is just, like, my pet peeve. It's like, no, I'm not being sensitive. I'm calling you out because you're ignorant. Like, and it's like, it's okay to be ignorant. Like, there's certain things that I'm ignorant on, and I would hope that people would say, hey, Kathleen, like, don't say that makes me uncomfortable, or, hey, Kathleen, like, you know, maybe don't do that, like, or that wasn't cool. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry, like, I won't do it again. And, like, and that's, to me, like, a true apology, is when you change your behavior based on, you know, understanding that you made someone upset or hurt them. Where did you think this came from? Genuinely curious. And then I said, you know, if it was me and I had someone, and I was getting heated by this point, so I didn't say it as nice as I'm saying it now, because I was like, if it were me, like, I would take it down. I would take down if someone told me that I was making them upset or whatever. And then, so I thought that was done. I thought it was done. But then, the girl that made the, like, attacking post, attacking this other girl, she was like, she was like, oh, why you gotta be so whiny? And then she tagged me in this other post and was like, oh, here, you weenie or whatever, and are you sensitive, Willie? And I was just kind of like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? First off, like, I'm like, you don't even know me. Like, oh, whatever. You don't even know. You don't even know. And so then she tags me in this, and it's this some girl going off about, like, apparently I made her friend upset because I called her out, and I came for her or whatever, and I'm kind of like, how? Like, how? Because, like, my comments, like, and another native girl in the group also hearted my comments. Like, she agreed with what I said, like, and, like, I'm just the one that's gonna say it, I guess. Like, that's just me. Like, maybe I have to learn on just not saying it. But then it's like, if I don't say anything, then I feel like, you know, people just continue to perpetuate their ignorance and they continue to do this stuff. So it's like, how do I make it stop? Like, I can't. So it's like, I don't know. It's frustrating because it's like, as soon as you say something, you're labeled as like this sensitive person, or you're easily offended, and it's like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not gonna be offended. Like, I'm trying to tell you why what you're doing is wrong. Like, I don't understand. But anyways, so then this girl's like coming for me or whatever, calling me out, and I was like, hey, I'm not even gonna deal with this. Because she was like, oh, I say that all the time, and it's not racist, blah, blah. Like, they were so hung up on that word, the racist word. So if I would have said, oh, it's a microaggression, they probably wouldn't have cared. They would have been like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, it would have been, like, a whole different thing. But when we call things what they are, because, like, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't get how it's racism. Because it's tied to my race, like, my culture and my identity. And who I am as a person is tied to my clan and to who I am and my identity. Like, that's my race. Like, that's, like, my nationality, my ethnicity, all of that stuff. So it's like, it's racism, because you're calling, like, you're well, you want to call it cultural appropriation, either thing. It's like, it's based on race. Like, I'm gonna, like, you know what I mean? You do me dirty, I'm gonna report. Like, and so then I blocked them, and then they're like calling me a coward and blah blah blah, like, where are you, blah blah. Like, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, honestly, not worth my time, but it was so frustrating, because it's like, I couldn't even get back in the group, because I unblocked these girls, because I'm like, I'll stand up for myself. Like, I have no problem taking the heat of, like, if you're upset with something that I said, because the one girl was like, after she called me all sensitive, like, I didn't say something very nice to her, and so, like, I own that. Like, I shouldn't have said that, but, like, she just, like, that's, like, such a trigger for me. Like, you call me sensitive, like, I'm just triggered, like, so don't do that. But but yeah, so, like, I unblocked them, and then, like, I couldn't get back in the group, so I couldn't stand up for myself, and it was just, like, ridiculous. Don't do that. If someone comes to you and says, like, what you're saying is inappropriate, it doesn't belong to you to say because it's not from your culture, then just accept it. Just, okay, take the L to say, hey, I'm really sorry, I'm gonna take it down. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean that wasn't my intent. I'm gonna rephrase. I'm gonna say, yes, I love your energy. Call her out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many other ways that could have been handled. And it's just like, it's like, why? Why did it have to go to that extreme? And then they just, like, kept blowing out of proportion. It was ridiculous. It's like, you know, no one can speak for me, and I never got the chance to speak for myself. So it's like, this is kind of also like my outlet, because you know, I'm not allowed, I couldn't get back in there, and, like, I even told the group, like, because I'm so honest. Like, that's the thing too. Like, I put it when it's like, how did you find out about this group? And I'm like, I was in this group, and then I left because this person was being rude, and then I need to come back and stand up for myself. And, like, it's just ridiculous. And, like, they still didn't let me in, so I'm like, okay, well, you wanted to be one-sided, I guess. So, yeah, those are two situations of things that you shouldn't say or do to Indigenous people. So if you're non-Indigenous, please don't call Indigenous or like, I can't speak for Black people. Please don't call Indigenous people savage. And if you are, you know, non-Indigenous, please don't say that's my spirit animal. Please don't. Oh, there was another one with the cup group that, like, rubbed me the wrong way. um like, please don't, like, I get it when things are bad and like there's bad stuff going on and like people talk about like, you know, burning sage and like having positive vibes and stuff like that. Yeah, I get that that's like a little bit more like mainstream, but still, it's like if it doesn't belong to your culture, then maybe you shouldn't do that. I I I, just like, it's a no. It's a no from me, because like there are so many other things you could be doing. Go do yoga. Go meditate. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, that's like a cultural practice. Like, that's ceremony when people smudge. So like, it just like needs to be sacred. It needs to be, you know, taken seriously and not just like, you know, put up in cup groups and be like, we're gonna clear the negative vibes, like virtual smudge, and it's like, I don't know about that. Feels kind of, you know, wrong to me. Americans are like, are significantly more ignorant to the plight of indigenous people, I feel, from my understanding, from, because it's the absence of it. Like, a lot of times when people are listing off, you know, the different minorities and challenges, they totally forget. And like, we seen with this past presidential election how like native people were called something else and like they ran with it and embraced it, and that's like it's, yeah. Whereas like, you know, it's like we're totally omitted and forgotten about in terms of like, you know, mainstream media and stuff like that. But that's the end of the rant. So if you got through that rant, thank you very much, and be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything else that you want me to rant about, because it's fun and I like ranting about silly things that, like, let it go. It's gone. It's over. It's done with. We will, you know, learn from it. Pick our battles, Kathleen. Pick your battles, Aunty. You know, not every battle is worth fighting, and that's one thing that I need to learn. Okay, see you in the next one. Nigiwa. Bye. I don't know why I always do that. Bye.